and welcome to the Captain's Quadrant. We are here coming from you from various places all over the United States. And yes, one of our beloved is not with us today. He had to fight a red kangaroo. The big reds really took their toll on him, so he can't join us today. But I have great news, friends. We have some great people from Trek Talk joining us today, and it is exciting. We've got Captain Nita.
Hi, everyone.
And Normandy, who you may know as Outer Galaxies on TikTok. I'm so glad to have you guys here, suffering with Jason and I. And of course, we're going to go to our buddy Jason, who is known this day as Chakotay's Jiggly Moves.
It was either that or it was Chakotay's weird hairstyle. Because we are venturing into that episode.
Yeah, we're
with
venturing
the weird hair.
Yeah, so let's kick it right into the episode summary, which I hit the wrong one. All right. Star Trek Voyager, The Fight, Season 5, Episode 18. While the ship is trapped in chaotic space, Chakotay hallucinates that he is a boxer being trained by Boothby for a confrontation with an unknown alien opponent. Wow! Yes,
that is a synopsis. Yes,
that is the synopsis. So,
and you got it right.
Yeah, yeah, I got it right. Usually I mess those up. I always fumble a word or two. But let us go and say hello to everybody hanging out with us. We've got, ladies and gentlemen, my mom, Cosmic Mom. She's checking in, saying hello.
Hi, Cosmic Mom.
We've got Rowdy Claude from Trek Talk also, and absolutely lovely person. Please be sure to follow everybody. And of course, we have Geek Filter saying greetings, and Witty Treasures saying Captain Nita.
How are you?
So welcome. So let's not waste any time. What did we just watch?
We watched the only set of chicken legs.
Yeah,
I can't get over it. I mean, really put some Spanx or some leggings on them.
That was just maybe half an inch away from being TVMA right there. That's all I can say. If Patrick Stewart was to do that scene today, his boys would be hanging right under there. You know they would be.
The line must be drawn here. All right, so
before the line is going a little southward every year.
The line is drawn here. No, lower, Patrick. It's lower. Here? No, even lower, Patrick. Oh,
like a metronome. Just
yeah. All right, so we know that our good buddy and other co-host Jason couldn't be with us today, so he just wanted to share his review really quick before we go around and talk about it. So here it is.
Hey team, how you going? Look, I'm sorry I couldn't be there this week, but I thought, hey, why not at least still give you a review what I thought of the episode? Well, this episode was nothing but like I didn't like the yeah, that's what I thought of the episode. So
yeah.
I admire his restraint.
There's some emotional damage happening.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I lost time of my life. All right, so we're going to start off with Captain Nita. We're going to go with our guests. You go first, and then Normandy, and then Jace. Jiggly Moves.
Okay, well, the character Chakotay I have no issue with. Mm-hmm. The actor, that's another story. But the character really... I feel like they did not do his character justice. Let's break it down. I mean, he was a trained Starfleet officer, a Maquis captain. He was all about putting his life to save others. There comes this episode, and he does not want to confront something like voices in his head to save the ship, which a third of it is his Maquis crew. I had an issue with how that was portrayed. I don't think that fit the character. I think Chakotay's character would have been okay with that. He would have struggled with it because hearing voices can't be easy for anyone. But there was definitely a problem with me accepting that the character Chakotay would have reacted that way. Um, and would have not been okay and had to be convinced to save the ship. Because the aliens did need to communicate with him how to get out of chaotic space. And it was the only way for him to listen to what they were saying. And, you know, it was sort of a little PTSD for him because he was being reminded of what his grandfather went through. So the struggle is real for him. But his character, that whole scene was written wrong. I think that Star Trek missed an opportunity for really good representation when it came to mental health, when it came to him as a person of color, a native character. There was a lot of missing opportunities there, and they kind of made him so scared. And this is a person who, when he was confronted with the Kazon, he left the ship to save them, knowing he would be killed by the Kazon. But this he had an issue with. I couldn't resolve that. I just felt like there was a problem with that script right there. Definitely was, and it wasn't a bad episode. It was just a little bit boring, and I was kind of sad because I'm a big boxing fan. So when you see that first scene and he's boxing, I'm expecting so much, and it wasn't happening for me.
I hear you. Okay,
well, good night, everybody. That
was That's it. Show's over.
It show's over. She tore it down. All right.
She broke it down. There's nothing else for us to do.
I'm after your job, Jason.
I happily give it.
No. We keep everyone here. All right, Normandy, go for it.
Well, Captain Nita said a lot of things that I actually don't even need to expand further upon. I feel that the disjointed, there was a lot of disjointed narrative stuff that happened. And even as somebody who's watched Voyager all the way through, like, multiple times, like, I had to rewatch this episode a few times to figure out where in the timeline we were starting. Like, it wasn't clear to me in the episode where the timing was going to be here and there. I actually thought that they handled some parts of his his relationship with his family member. I felt like they handled that a little bit better. Now, the doctor in this episode, like, the doctor's always a jerk, but I felt like the doctor was overly, even for the doctor, the EMH was way out of pocket, just absolutely way out of pocket. I think, like, I don't necessarily agree with, like, I agree that the character was definitely done dirty by the writers and the fake consultant that they hired on the show who wasn't actually native. Like, that, it was a bad thing. It was a really bad missed opportunity, like you said. But I also felt like, I feel like Chakotay is someone who, if you're really, really into Trek, like, you see his character in everything he does. You see his character in the way he treats people. You see his character in the way he treats Janeway, right? Like, he's her number two. He's always respectful of her, respectful of his, he's obviously a man of his very strong principles, and I felt that they could have done a better job, perhaps looping. Like, I think this episode would have been better if other members of the crew would have been looped in, like, a little bit, because it did really felt like he was just out there on his own, and the writing and the pacing and the editing did not really support, I don't think, what they were trying to do, among other gripes I have with this.
I'm so glad you mentioned the doctor. He was giving me trauma. Like, he was screaming at him.
Yeah, I have a clip for that.
My voice. You can't listen to your voice because he's listening to all the other voices that are happening.
Yeah.
He can't distinguish that. And he was just so forceful.
Yeah.
I think that the little compassion would have gone a long way. And it was just a little overwhelming, that moment.
It's odd that you say that too, because I was watching the episode too, and one of the things that I liked about the episode is I think season 5 of Voyager is full of hits. Like, you have a great bunch of episodes leading up to this. Like, season 5 of all these shows is when everybody's starting to gel, not just as characters, but as actors. They've been working together for 5 years. So there are all these really nice moments between the crew. Like, they look comfortable with each other. You can tell, like, 7 of 9 is fully integrated into the crew and the acting thing. But the EMH was acting almost like season 1 or 2 EMH. Like,
Yes.
it didn't really it wasn't really congruent in that way.
And he had already evolved as a character by this
Yeah.
point, so it felt like he was regressing back.
Yeah.
In the writing, the writing of this story was not good, and they did a brown man dirty.
Injustice, yes. All right, Jiggly Moobs. Your turn.
All right.
Give us your favorites. I know
Okay.
you have notes as well.
I do. I have notes, but I'm digital with my notes this week because my handwriting was so bad. Because I was nodding off in the middle of this episode so many times. The Fight is a Star Trek Voyager episode that exists. Robert Beltran is an actor in it. The supporting characters are also present. The writers used words and sentences. The special effects are visual. The plot of this episode happens. Out of all of the episodes of Star Trek Voyager, this is one of them. I would rather sit through bad episodes, I mean, truly trash episodes like Threshold or Twisted, than sit through episodes that have no impact on me whatsoever.
I
This
love
episode-
Twisted.
Yeah.
I love it for its badness.
Yeah.
For its badness. I'm sorry. I
3
apologize.
o'clock in the schoolyard. You and me.
Okay, I'll be there. I'll be wearing blue. I don't know. Is she trying to make a date with me? I don't know what this means. Anyway, I would rather watch a bad episode like Threshold than watch an episode that has absolutely no impact on me whatsoever. I literally, as I said, I always watch these episodes twice before we do this podcast because I want to be well versed and actually know what I'm talking about. I swear I drifted off watching this episode twice. Between the halfway part and the 3/4 part, there's a whole part of the episode I don't even remember because it was just nothing. It was nothingness being bombarded at me. I think that my main problem with this episode is that it takes established characters and just invents out of nowhere this hobby that seems to be such a big, important part of their life that they've never had before and never had since. And it's a big, major part of this episode. And it's not just Chakotay, it is also Boothby. Boothby is suddenly a boxing coach. Why? And don't get me wrong, I love Ray Walston. I love the character of Boothby. The fact that this was his last appearance as Boothby, having Boothby so out of character, almost playing the Burgess Meredith part in Rocky,
yeah, that's what
it almost seemed like a parody of his character, and it bothers me so much that they just invented this major part of Chakotay's life and then dropped it after this. Like, it just did not matter. Robert Beltran also was, let's face it, he's not the strongest actor. He was,
but this was his best performance.
Was it though?
I don't agree.
Was it though? Because this to me, he was very
sweating.
He was stilted. He was. They lots of people make fun of Shatner's acting. Lots of people. I'm William Shatner, and I am on Star Trek 911 Rescue. But let's be perfectly honest. Shatner's not that bad of an actor if you give him quality material. Beltran was given potentially quality material and sleepwalked his way through it. From beginning
Although I think that
to
the
end.
2
And
episodes.
There's him sleepwalking.
Yeah, he just his entire performance was just, I don't know, forced and stilted, and it just made the episode even more intolerable, in my opinion. And
I think
then the hair. the spray
But
painted
hair-
on hair. I don't know what was with the hair in this episode because
It
I
was
could
messy
not.
because of the boxing.
Well, even look at that. It's almost like
it's
a
like a
Vulcan.
helmet.
Yeah, it's like a helmet.
Yeah.
It's like they
Ugh.
sprayed it on,
Where was
and
her
it's in this
makeup?
episode only,
Lord.
and I don't get it. It's like why would you do that to him?
Yeah, where was hair and makeup that
Yeah.
day? Exactly.
So
But it's not just that. It's also that this episode had some very strange quirks about it. The boxing set, for example, it was supposed to be very, I don't know, abstract. You know, at one point the boxing arena is triangular, but it almost
okay.
seemed like an original series set where they didn't have enough money because
Mm.
everything's dark. You can hear the audience, but you can't see them.
Yeah.
And it instead of being, you know, strange and abstract, it just came off as cheap. And a lot of the stuff that happened in Chakotay's head to me also kind of struck me as weird. Harry saying to Chakotay, "I look up to you." Since when? When has this happened?
When did you start looking up to me?
I always looked up to you as when the writers need me to. Chakotay and Harry, I think, maybe exchanged 3 scenes during this entire run of this series. I don't know. And most strangely, and I don't know why I have such a big gripe about this, because honestly, it's not that big of a deal. But there's this part where the doctor's being mean to Chakotay in his dream, telling him all the injuries he's going to get from boxing. And I'm thinking, this is all happening in Chakotay's head. That means Chakotay knows medicine.
Oh.
So this is Chakotay's brain.
Oh, what
talking
a
to
drop.
itself.
What a drop.
So how does he know all
Well,
this
it's
stuff? Why
possible
did they
that
need to
he-
change it?
It's
Train a new
possible
doctor.
that he knows a little bit because Starfleet officers are trained in basic medicine in case they like go into an accident. You see that they can perform basic first aid.
Especially if they have a
Yeah.
red shirt.
Yeah.
Well, and for Maquis,
Yeah.
And the
For Maquis.
Maquis, and Maquis learned every job. It's to survive. That kind of, I could see that, you know.
Yeah, it just seems like awfully specialized knowledge that
Yes,
is locked up in this
But
guy's head.
I do see that. I
Yeah.
can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
There
Go
was a lot of specifics that was strange.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, so go
at the end of the episode, honestly, it was mostly just frustrating because even the bad episodes you can laugh at. This one wasn't bad enough to laugh at, but it wasn't good to enjoy either. It was just there.
Yeah. So Normandy, you were going to say something?
well, I was gonna say, I think something interesting that a lot of people that I think in my personal headcanon of Chakotay that a lot of people misinterpret is that I think his strongest parts of the show are his relationships, and that's very rare for a male character to have that type of focus. And I think a lot of people misinterpret Chakotay's character because he is in this role that normally wouldn't be played by a man, right? And there's a dynamic between him and Janeway that's very, very different. And so to have an episode like this where, you know, he doesn't have a strong relationship with every single member of the bridge crew, but he does have a lot of really strong relationships on with the crew and the ship and everything like that. So to have a big, really important Chakotay episode and have so few, like, you know, the real moments of the meat of the episode are him, Janeway 7, him and Janeway with their dynamic going on. I feel that as an actor, both and as a character, like his strength and his most interesting part of him is the relationships that he has with other people, and so unique and so rare for a male actor to have that. And that's something I really like about Voyager.
All right. So I'm just going to run to the comments real quick before we move on because we have some new faces that are saying hello. Like Sarah Andrews. Hello.
Hi,
Hello, Sarah. Welcome to our nightmare.
Yes. We've got Ruth Flores saying, hello, Captain Nita. Face orange, raised eyebrow. We've got.
my sister.
I don't know what
like
that
her.
means.
I don't know what that means either, but I'm assuming that has something to do with The Rock because of the raised eyebrow. Devin Copes. Sorry if I say your name wrong, but Nita.
Nita.
Now
she is after my job.
So Rowdy had a point about Chakotay. He was kind of cute too.
Incredibly. Yes.
Jason, was he?
Oh, Jason. No.
Okay, he's okay. He's fine. He's fine.
Oh,
As long as if he doesn't talk, he's fine.
OMG. Even now, with his gray hair, I would take him home.
And again, as long as he
Let us
doesn't
just
say
say that.
anything,
Just
as long as he doesn't ruin anything with his personality, I could see it.
yeah.
Yes, I agree.
So Woody Treasures, I'm watching the episode now while you're all watching because I need a
that's
refresher.
awesome.
And then Woody also agrees with the two of you.
Mm.
And then Geek Filter says he was such a wish-washy character. I feel like the writers just decided that they could plug him into any story and they couldn't make it work otherwise.
Yeah,
So,
and you know, I want to build off of what was said earlier about Chakotay's biggest strength was his relationships. I can see that he does have great chemistry with other members of the bridge crew, both as antagonistic and as I don't know what's the word, not patriarchal, I don't know, just like his friends.
Yeah.
But I think of this episode misfires in that it almost turns into Chakotay's one-man show, where as an actor that was Beltran's not his strength. And I'm really not trying to be mean here. He played off of others well, but by himself not so much.
I think he did a really good job in when he was in Shattered, the episode Shattered.
Yes, that was a good episode.
Waking Moment, he did a really good job. And there was a lot of him just kind of being alone, being a hero. And that's what I had a problem with. He was willing to blow himself up, but then he can't face hearing voices to save the ship. It contradicts the character that they had created in him.
Yes, and strangely enough, it's also some of Voyager's strongest episodes are Chakotay centric. Distant Origins is one of my favorite episodes, and that's the one where they find the dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
And for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of it, but Chakotay gets conscripted into an alien army, and they're supposed to fight these bad guys, and eventually, his vocabulary changes. It's one of my favorite episodes. I think it's one of Voyager's most underrated straight Chakotay episode. Yeah. It plays off the character strengths. Nemesis.
Yeah. All right.
I have the list of all the Chakotay episodes.
Not to be confused with the movie. We're talking about the Voyager episode.
Nemesis, I like Nemesis, the movie.
Highly underrated.
It's on.
Want to say hello to Philip Seaman. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Philip.
And he also agrees that indeed Chakotay was cute.
Chakotay was also so devoted. I mean, I can't talk about Voyager without talking about Resolutions, the episode that makes me want to crawl and bite and bark at the front door like a dog, how the way that the chemistry between them was. He's so devoted, and his personality of devotion and just a man of honor. He's so clearly a man of honor. His personality is
him and Janeway should have done it. That's all I'm saying. They should have done it.
Should have.
Should have done it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And then we've got Geek Filter saying he's good at uniting different groups.
Yes.
I think it's a fair point. Yeah.
Quite honestly, if he hadn't have been first officer, I could see him as the ship's counselor.
Yeah.
I think he would have been really good at that job.
Yeah, especially because he is one tone.
I think they should have utilized him more as the first officer. There were many times in many of the episodes that I felt that Tuvok was first officer, and he had more say than Chakotay did. And again, they kind of put him in the background, and they didn't utilize him, and they could have brought a lot of good representation to Native people, to Latinos, because the actor's Latino. They just missed out, and it was the first time that I have seen, a Latino, a Mexicano, on Star Trek, on the bridge. This was exciting, playing a Native individual, it was exciting, and they missed out on the opportunity to really create a fantastic character. And I could see his frustration as an actor. But then again, as a Trekkie, I could also see the frustration as Trekkies. You could have done better. You could have put 100% in the little you got.
Yeah. So we're got a couple more, then we're gonna go to our next segment. We've got Holodeck 4, our good friend. Hello. Good to see you. And she says, Nita!
She's always screaming.
I'm just kidding. And Rowdy says hello to her, and She says hello back. And then our good buddy, the funniest frontier.
Oh,
Yeah. And look
That
at
one
all
says
the
that one says hello, y'all. So I'm going to assume that one was meant for me.
maybe the Texas Jason and all the Texas stuff. Oh, look at that. The Trek Talk crew showing up here. Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's
Represent.
great. And then Twerks in the chat. Yes. Yes.
You can't see it, but it's going.
it's happening. It's happening.
All right, here we go. Our next section.
Mr. Smooth, there's nothing there.
Okay, so my hands slipped, so that we got a little bit of that, a little awkward.
Got that Beltran sweat going on.
Got
right
that Beltran sweat going on for sure, for sure. Wow, well, it was a bizarre episode. I felt like they really put everybody else way in the background, and I'm wondering if Robert Beltran was like pushing for that. I wonder if there was some like behind the scenes stuff going on.
I was reading some of the behind the scenes stuff behind this episode because I was trying to figure out, why mostly what was the genesis of the fight. And according to Beltran, several of the writers were having lunch together, and one of them literally said, "What about a boxing episode?"
Oh,
And that's how this episode started.
they turned and saw
Beltran-
Rocky DVD.
Beltran knew that this episode was a possibility, and he requested 3 weeks notice so that he could get in shape. Because he said, and I quote, "I was in good shape, but I wasn't in shirtless shape," which, I understand and sympathize with.
Me too.
Well, this was the time, which I don't know if you guys remember, but this was about the time that they had a fire on the bridge set. And so they had this fire that damaged a lot of the bridge set, and so they had to shut down production for a few days and redo their shooting schedule around trying to repair the bridge set. And that is whenever this episode started going into production. And they said, "Okay, we're gonna do the fighting episode. You have 10 days." So Beltran was like, "Okay, but I'm not going shirtless." And that's how the fight happened. And that's also why we have so many of these weird, not really location shoots, but we spend so much time in the gym and in astrometrics and so little time on the bridge is because they were fixing the bridge at the time.
Oh,
So,
wow.
In a
See
sense,
that?
it's kind of clever in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah.
It wasn't done very well, but it was a clever way to hide the fact that the bridge was damaged.
So you've come for the wonderful crew here at Captain's Quadrant, and you stay to get some Star Trek behind the scenes knowledge. And that's what's the benefit
And now
of the
you
Captain's
know
Quadrant.
the rest of the story.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I really, this is a discussion that happens a lot about modern Trek because honestly, my biggest gripe with a lot of the new live action is that it's 10 episode seasons, and so there's no time for these filler episodes, and these filler episodes took place because we had to have a certain length of syndication. You were trying to get up to a certain amount of episodes. I know that schedule is very grueling for the actors and for the crew, so I don't necessarily want to go back to that, but there are a lot of really beautiful things that come out when you are able to have a filler episode. And I feel like some of our modern treks would really benefit if we were allowed to have that for budgetary and time things, because you know that there were a bunch of Voyager episodes and somebody was like, "Well, we gotta get the 27th episode of this season, so you're gonna be a boxer. And by the way, you have to do it now because the set's on fire."
And the wonderful part of having a very long season with so many episodes is that you get to develop the character and not get bombarded with character information and growth in 1 or 2 episodes. You're going for how did they go from here to here, and there's a development like Milana's development. You see her growing,
Yeah, I like her character a lot.
yes, her development was amazing. You see the EMH development, you see everyone's development growing, and you have the time to kind of absorb it and see what's happening, have the episodes. But there was, with only 10 episodes, it's really difficult to do that. And I think they do a great job.
Yeah.
But I think they could do an even better job if they were able to have more episodes.
I also think though there's something that's happened. This is a common gripe of mine, which none of you have heard me talk about. All my friends have heard me talk about this 100 times. I call it the Games of Thronesification of all media, in which we have this new thing where it's like every episode of every television show has to be like 80% plot and 20% character development. And for me, one of the reasons I really like TNG, DS9, everything else, I think DS9 did it the perfect split of overarching plots, one-off episodes, longer character development. No Trek does it better than DS9. But to have like a little more like I would rather sacrifice a little more plot to get a little more character development, because it's the characters and the relationships. That's the reason why I watch and what I like. So splitting that difference is really hard when it's 10 episodes versus 22 or 27 or whatever.
Yeah, agree.
Totally agree.
I agree too. And I think that's something I love the new Trek. I love Discovery. I love Strange New Worlds. I love all these. But that is something that I miss, is the good old useless filler episode. You know, some episodes like One Little Ship from Deep Space Nine. It's like literally, we're going to shrink a runabout. It's one of my favorite episodes.
I love that episode.
And it's just those little wonderful character moments. I honestly wish that we could have a season of Discovery where there's no overarching plot, just standalone episodes.
Yes.
That's I think is the weakness of Discovery. I totally agree with you.
And Wusakan and all of those other characters, their own episode. You know, kind of like all the main characters have to leave on some kind of mission, and you leave them in charge.
Yeah,
something goes wrong on the ship, and they're all trying to fix it before they all get home. Kind of like the last act of Risky Business. They're all trying to fix everything before, you know.
A Ferris Bueller's Day Off type of thing.
Yeah, that's what you could call it. Michael Burnham's Day Off.
Yeah.
Just have everybody trying to fix everything.
That would be cool.
Absolutely.
Now, did you guys notice that Discovery was trending today?
It was?
Yeah, I don't know why. Star Trek Discovery was trending for some reason.
Good.
Yeah.
Is it like a good trending, or are we?
I'm not sure. I was trying to find out, but I didn't come to anything. Maybe they dropped some information or
is it
more trailer.
something that I gotta bring the batlet to?
No.
I can put it down. I can put it down.
Break that out.
Okay.
You can put it down.
All right.
For me, the only thing that I could say, why would you do that, is literally the last thing this guy's ever been on was this show. Now, you know, he was such a great actor. He was in The Stand. He was in so many great movies when I was a kid. It was just a disservice to him as an actor to just kind of, all right, you're just going to be like Burgess Meredith and just kind of sit over there. Okay, buddy. You know, and then they had the randomness with Neelix in this one. He just comes out of nowhere. This is going to happen. You're not ready for this. You know, it was just like, this is so random.
Interesting fact. The real Neelix never showed up in this episode. It was all imaginary Neelix.
Very true.
Well, I thought we'd never get rid of him.
How rude. If we disagree with him, he just goes.
I know. What the heck? Oh. Yes. So anyway, I never liked him. Oh, hey, he's back.
You know what? You know what happened? I have to keep in mind that my trackpad is very sensitive and my hands are very big. But I'm back. What did I miss?
And now I'm in the first position.
Yeah, you are now the official. So you're the host. You take the show from here.
Okay.
So Neelix, yes, go ahead.
Incidentally, Discovery is trending because of Michelle Yeoh's well-deserved Golden Globe win.
That's right. Yes.
All hail the Emperor.
The Emperor. Yes.
Can I just say I love her?
You have to love the whole "please shut up" line during her speech.
Yeah.
I was just like, girl, yeah.
Yes. I love her. I loved her as the good captain. I loved her as the bad one. Like, she is an incredible actress. Like, Discovery found the best of the best and tossed them all together. Like, they're just amazing. Yes. And representation, again, was beautiful. You know, the doctor, Puerto Rican. Yes, Wepa, that's right.
Yeah.
We got somebody up in there that looked good and is Puerto Rican. I loved it.
He's in phenomenal shape, that guy, too. That actor is incredible. Yeah.
Yes. And, you know.
And he's super duper nice, and he engages with a lot of people, both him and Anthony Rapp. Wilson.
Yeah, Anthony Rapp actually engages with me every now and then. I like this big one.
They just took the best and put them together. And it was just an amazing cast that they have. They truly do.
Yes. All right. So now let's go to the comments one more time. We've got some fun chatter about. We've got shirtless shape. They could do contouring to mimic shirtless shape.
Well, nowadays they just fix it with CGI.
CGI, yeah. I was gonna say today they'll
Like
just be like, that's why they
They
make
would
it-
have had Chakotay looking like
Yeah.
like the
like
Rock.
Thor, like
Yeah.
Thor.
Yeah.
Chakotay smash.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be more like Chakotay smash.
Yeah. Normally, a fight episode indicates a sci-fi show has jumped the shark. Thankfully, they recovered.
Yeah,
Interesting.
That Battlestar Galactica did a boxing episode.
Yes.
It was about the same. Just like, oh well, this is interesting. He
Yeah.
said sarcastically.
Yes. And then a hello from our producer, YK Productions. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
What's up, buddy? Just so you know, your chair is streaming without you. Very interesting.
Do you know you have demons in your house?
You're somehow in this. Philip says, I always like an episode where they make fun of themselves.
Oh,
Yeah,
Best
those
of
are
Trek.
always
those
the
are
best.
fun.
Yes.
Yeah. And display their other talents. Yeah, I totally agree. And then, of course, we have another Niner here. Agree
Yes.
about Deep Space Nine. Yes. Totally
Yeah.
agree. Yes. Oh, nice shirt, man.
Yes.
And
I
then
have the
we were talking
Niner jersey, but I
Oh,
wore
wrestling
my captain's
Yes.
shirt.
Yeah.
They haven't given me one of those yet.
Yeah, we will get you one. Don't worry.
Do
We will
need
get you a
tissue?
Captain Squadron shirt.
You
We
need
will,
a tissue?
we will get you one.
Yes,
Don't worry.
I do need a tissue.
And a shirt. The tissue is the shirt. Now you definitely need a shirt.
All right, I like this. I like this comment.
Yes, if I never see another mystery box season for the rest of my life, it will be too soon. I was burned by the burn.
Discovery seasons.
Oh, the Discovery, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Discovery seasons, I think they always start
Yeah,
out
amen.
strong and they fizzle out at the end.
Mm.
And I think that the last two seasons, the Burn season and the Species 10C season, both did the same thing. I think 10C ended stronger than the Burn season did, but it the same thing. It just starts strong, fizzles out.
But season 2 was the opposite. It was started
Season
a little,
2 was the opposite.
and then when
Season
that
2
finished, that was like boom, 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 and I loved it. I was there for every
Yeah.
minute of it. Yeah.
Season 4 has been my favorite of Discovery so far, just because we are seeing them gel together. But again, it's just for me, I've recognized that it's a personal preference that is about. It's not just Discovery. It's a problem with a lot of modern television that I've had trouble getting into, which is why I love Lower Decks so much, right? Because there's a show
Yeah.
that is
Yes.
all about those, and they're big moments, but they're like insignificant kind of little moments where you just get to see people relating and you get to know them and you get to see the dynamic gel together. I just think there's something that happens, and it'll be interesting to see Discovery season 5, because there's something that happens that you cannot actively do, that happens when you are organically working together with the same people for 5 years. There's just something that starts to happen that's really magical.
Yeah. And then we got Klingon Queen. Yeah, she's rocking that bat left. I love that. And Philip agrees.
Yeah.
My favorite Martian.
Indeed, he was. Ray was. such
Oh,
a
that's
great
right.
guy.
He
Yeah.
was in my favorite Martian.
Yes, he was.
Oh, wow.
I just put him together.
That's
That's
right.
right.
He had the Andorian
Yeah.
ears going on. Yeah. Yeah. I have never recovered from season 1 of Disco. That's our producer.
Oh, he needs to stop whining.
I think he should watch the second season. He'd be like, you know what, mate? Oh, mate, that was great. I think that's what we.
He's fighting kangaroos right now.
Yeah. Philip 1814. Okay. Was Chakotay's imaginary and in Chakotay's mind?
Was imaginary and in Chakotay's mind. I don't
Yes.
know.
I don't know.
Was, but was is.
But was
is
is.
was
Yeah.
so. Yes, we all love Michelle Yeoh.
Yes, we do love Michelle
is
Yeoh.
queen. And there's also been some re-emerging talk about the Section 31 spinoff, which
Yeah.
I think we've been waiting for. a
They've been
long time.
teasing that.
Let's
for
make
a
it
while.
happen.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen. Bring in Tyler. Bring in
So apparently, Jace, you and I do great jazz hands. Yeah, jazz hands. Everybody, yeah. Now, this is a cool one. I've walked a few AIDS walks with Wilson in the 90s. He was very sweet. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Aww.
Was that during the Pacey years? Was he Pacey back then? Well, he was Pacey, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
The burn was
I can't remember the name of the show. I just remember the character.
It's interesting. The burn was a mystery that was impossible for the audience to figure out, and then it breaks the first rule of mystery writing. You got to have some inkling. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the typo. All right, let us jump into our commercial break.
There is only one television adventure
Captain, they're children.
Don't let their appearance fool you. They are in control of this vessel.
that can take you from one end of the galaxy
Sit back and enjoy the ride.
to the next.
One must allow for the unexpected discovery.
Sounds good to me.
Hold on for the wildest ride in the universe.
Fun will now commence.
Star Trek Voyager. Wednesdays at 9/8 Central on UPN.
Wow.
UPN, your home for terrible commercials.
Remember UPN?
I know. I was like, remember the 90s? Yeah. I was just
UPN, it's back in POG form.
Oh, man. All right, let's jump into redeeming features.
It looks like gold. Tastes like gold.
It is gold.
I love that one because it's Armin, and I just can't get over it. Now,
You
the
love
interest-
anything with Armin in it.
I do,
Armin
yeah.
makes everything better. He should have been in this episode. We wouldn't have put it on the
Yeah.
on the deal.
Yeah. Now,
Like, I have to fight them. I don't want to do this. I don't want to remember. Is that Armin Shimerman? Hi. Love
yeah.
you, Armin. Thank you.
Now, it was brought to my attention on Trek Talk, which I really appreciate. I forgot who posted it, and I appreciate them greatly. That the actor Leslie Jordan played a Ferengi on Voyager.
Yes, he did.
And that has
He
been
was
making
in False Prophets.
yes,
Ah.
and that has been making the rounds on TikTok because he recently passed away.
Yes.
But I did not catch that, and he's such a lovable guy, and I miss him greatly.
Yeah, it's such a terrible loss. Just
Yeah.
for the entertainment field, the social media field. Is just now I'm
Yeah.
sad. Now I'm
Yeah.
sad.
How y'all doing?
Yeah.
All right. So, are there any redeeming qualities in this episode? Is there anything?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Do we all agree that it's this guy? No. But
No.
go ahead.
As much as I love the guy, he
didn't do anything on this one. Yeah.
No.
But
He
go
I
ahead.
didn't do
love
anything.
I love when he remembers the relationship with him and his grandfather
Yes.
and how he wants to care for him. And there's that moment of love. Like you see him
Like right
as
here.
an adult, but if you listen to the conversation, he's really recalling a conversation as someone younger, maybe a
Yes.
teenager,
Yes.
really loving on their grandfather and wanting him to get better and take your medicine and come home with me. We have to go home. I'm going to get in trouble. And really wanting to care for him and love on him. And I think that relationship and that caring for your elders is very much part of the native culture. And I thought that they brought that in very nicely there. And that was very beautiful to me. I thought that it was very necessary since they were saying that his issue was was hereditary.
Mm. All right. Normandy?
Yeah, the connection with his grandfather felt extremely genuine. And again, like that's one of those things. Like I read an interview with Robert where he was we're just there talking about how later on in the series, I think they tried to make his ancestors be more like from South America and kind of like actually capitalize on his heritage. And like I felt like they were kind of going in a direction where there were things that could be done, like Nita was saying, that feel really genuine and really connected and don't require like anybody having to like make up stuff that isn't actually happening. Like it felt very genuine. It felt very real. I love Chakotay and Janeway's moments that they have with each other. I love when the tables are flipped and she gets to support him. Those moments where in the sick bay they're together. whatever relationship you see them having, it is such a relationship of mutual respect that I don't feel we see in hardly any male-female relationships on television before or since. The two of them treat each other with respect, even in the midst of conflict, even in the midst of problems. They never lose that respect for each other. Even in an episode like the Voyager conspiracy, where they end up, having this thing said, you know how bad it got? It got so bad that I almost didn't trust you. To see a relationship like that on screen, even 30 years later, I'm just like, how did they do that? How did they do that? Because there are shows today that are exploring relationships like that. And while I totally agree and I totally ship them and I love and everything, I think there was also a real element of not allowing it to go there that really allowed us to see Janeway in a more three-dimensional light, but also allowed us to see Chakotay in a three-dimensional light, and showcasing the way that they care for each other. And their friendship is one of the bedrocks of the entire show. And it's such a unique officer captain relationship. I was thinking today about how Voyager does horror and suspense better than any other Star Trek, and I felt a little bit today, when I was watching and thinking about their relationship, that some of the cues they might have been taking from the X-Files, of another show running at the time, of kind of capitalizing on that sort of relationship a little bit. I saw a little bit of echoes of that in there.
I agree. A redeeming quality, Jiggly Moves. What do we got?
I fully agree. My own grandmother suffered from Alzheimer's in her late life, and so this happened after this episode aired. So going back and watching this episode again, I started to see kind of parallels between Chakotay's grandfather and my grandmother, and conversations that we had whenever she would get confused. So that hit me harder this time around than it did the first time I watched it before she became ill. But I want to talk about a different part of the episode that I actually thought was very witty, and that was whenever the alien spoke to Chakotay through his memories by replaying earlier dialogue in the episode. Yeah. I just thought, well, that's neat. That's something we hadn't seen before, and I didn't remember it from the first time I watched it because, complete disclosure here, I haven't watched this episode since it first aired. So this is the first time I've seen it in 20 years? More than 20 years?
Wow, yeah, that's right. Because the 90s.
I just remember watching this episode, getting bored with it, and just thinking, well, that was a thing. And then I just never watched it again. And anytime it was on Netflix or anything like that, I just skipped over it. This time I watched it, and I was bored, but then I saw that part, and I was like, okay, that's very clever. I like how this is doing. It kind of reminded me of Deep Space Nine, the way that they would speak to the prophets.
Yeah.
But it was different, so it didn't feel like a ripoff, and I respected that. I kind of wish we would have seen more of that.
Yeah. I just like seeing my man from Popeye. I always remember him as Popeye's dad, and I was like, oh, Popeye's dad, and that's how I stuck. But there's one interesting comment before we move on. One thing I thought was funny, when they all edited all the crew clips together to have the aliens communicate, it totally sounded like the YouTube videos that they were making for Trek characters sing.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
Yeah,
but the fire is so delightful. Yes. I did not make the connection until I saw that comment, but yes, that's absolutely correct. It does sound like I call them Trek poops, where they just re-edit things. Trek poops. Yeah.
I love the whole boxing metaphor. Chakotay, the underdog, the Maquis who would become first officer, the Voyager ship that's thrown into the ring of the Delta Quadrant, not expecting it to make home. So much deep imagery in this episode that could be easily dismissed, but I find it beautiful and powerful.
That's very well put.
Yeah, very well put, Woody Treasures.
I respect that. That's very well put.
Yeah, meanwhile, I was like, oh my God, I can't drink coffee anymore, and I've got to watch this? Jeez. All right, so we're here. This is the Agony Booth, and there's no better thing than finding out what we're going to talk about next week. And in order to do that, we've got to go to the Wheel of Agony.
My people do agony best.
This is the part of the show that makes me hate Australian Jason so much, because in case you don't know, every time we roll an episode on the Wheel of Agony, that auspicious Australian puts Code of Honor on the wheel. How many Code of Honors are we up to now? 6?
We are up to 6 Code of Honors.
This is like Russian roulette with bad Star Trek at this point.
Uh-oh.
My favorite Code of Honor.
No. No. I know. I just have a feeling today's the day that we're going to be forced to watch that horrible, racist pile of tar dump right there. I just know this is it.
All right, so we're about to hit the Wheel of Agony. I am going to run it and play it, and I am going to disappear. So be ready. Yeah, because that's the way this thing works.
Can we talk bad about you and you'll hear us?
No, don't do that. So let's get ready for the Wheel of Agony. And
right,
I just
do this.
For some reason, it went to the wrong screen.
Oh my gosh! Look at all those adult videos you have on your website.
Yeah,
no. What is that?
No.
Why do you have a folder labeled feet?
I'm a shoemaker.
Who are you, Julian? Here?
Yeah, right.
Why do you have them all so organized meticulously?
That's
not normal.
There we go. All right, so I will disappear and spin the wheel. Here we go. Spinning.
You're still here.
Oh, you can hear me? Yay!
Yeah, you're still here.
All right, it's spinning. We're going to give it another second, and we're going to see.
Small, though. We can barely see it.
Yeah, it's very small.
That's weird.
And I think you have a folder that's labeled that, too.
And we're stopping as wow, how is this possible?
What is
TXA. TOS the way.
The what?
The way.
The way?
Yeah. The way to Eden. He forgot to take that. We've already done that. All right, so I'm gonna have to spin it because he forgot to
we're not doing that one again.
Yeah, we have to do it again. One more spin. And Code of Honor. Oh, the fight. He forgot to take that one off.
Oh my gosh. This.
It's the bloopers.
All right. Angel 1. Is this like the
We've done Angel 1.
We've done Angel 1. This is not that. Wait, hold up.
Oh my gosh. Australian Jason is at his house right now just going whoa, 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 whoa. He's laughing in Aussie.
Yeah.
The show's falling apart without me, Eddie.
I'm kind of wondering that maybe he set this up after fighting the kangaroo, and his head was
all
hurt.
right. Enterprise. These are the voyages.
Yeah! We finally got an Enterprise, though.
Yeah, we haven't seen Enterprise in forever.
Okay. Full disclosure: if this had not been the last episode of Star Trek, of that era of Star Trek, I would have rage quit. I would have rage quit the show.
Wait, if you would have rage quit, if what? What was that? I couldn't.
If this had not been the last episode of the 80s and 90s and early 2000s run of Star Trek, I would have rage quit with These Are the Voyages. I would have quit watching the show.
Yeah,
I would have. I was. This is an episode that made me physically angry.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. And then this is after the Wheel of Agony. Joe, I don't know what happened.
What have you done to my wheel, mate?
You know what's funny? Like, I remember he gave me one with like a ton of Code of Honors, and then for whatever reason, the one I got here is something totally off. But
he let the kangaroo set it up. That's what happened.
Yeah, no, that's all on me. And then everybody is basically saying, no! Terrible episode. Oh, yeah. They didn't even get the Enterprise carpet color right.
They should have ended that at Terra Prime and left us all sobbing and weeping. They should have ended it there.
They should have, yes.
Enterprise should have got 2 more seasons, but...
Oh my God, I got caught. That would be me. And then, oh my God, you guys have me laughing so hard. And of course, my mom says, Woody Treasures is laughing. Ironic.
Gosh.
All right.
There are certain head injuries I would rather have than watch These Are the Voyages again.
Yeah, so let's do the after.
Now, why don't you go back to your quarters? I'll be along shortly to say hello.
I would rather have Garrett come say hello to me than watch These Are the Voyages.
Yeah. So, yes, These Are the Voyages is going to be next week's episode that Jason and I will have to suffer through. And you know what? Join us. You suffer too. You guys can watch it in awe and go, oh, why am I watching this?
We have to get a clip of a Pinhead just going, your suffering will be legendary.
Even in hell.
Even in hell.
Yes, and so before we go, I just want to thank our panel here that joined us for the night. Captain Nita and Normandy, we hope you both come back. Hope it wasn't too crazy and hope it didn't mess up the wheel.
We loved it. It's incredible.
Oh, thank you. And then I just want to say one thing. We had the honor and privilege of interviewing the amazing Sean Ferrick from Trek Culture and his own brand new podcast called Clone Star Pod. So be sure to check out that video if you haven't seen it and give the Clone Star Pod and Sean Ferrick a follow. He is showing off his piano talents on his new YouTube page.
Which is
Sean Ferrick.
Gosh,
yeah, and
this
he's
dude
so
is
good.
Talented.
Yeah, who knew?
I had no idea. And yes, he is every bit as nice as he appears on YouTube. He's a pro.
Yeah, he was so nice to us, and we're so grateful. And we're going to have another special guest next week, so be sure to join us Monday, and we'll tell you all about that. We're going to have an actor from Star Trek on the show, and we'll tell you who when it premieres. So very excited, very happy, and we've got a lot going on in 2023. This is our year. Kapla! Yes. Yeah. So the Captain Squadron is what you're watching, but we have a slew of other shows coming at you this year. You may know The Power of J-Skull, featuring our good buddy Jason from Australia and Jason from Texas. When Texas and Australia collide, there's nothing more powerful than the power of J-Skull.
Or the power of friendship.
As you may have seen on the channel, if you haven't, please go take a look. We have a show called Looking Forward, where Brandon, one of our producers, is looking forward to what's coming out for the next month. That'll be out at the end of the month, beginning of February. We have 1 week later where we dive into and discuss all the things about the most popular movies and shows a week after the wrap up. And then Behind the Curtain is where we really spend our time getting all the deets and behind the scenes of TV shows, movies, comic books, and so much more. Our new shows, Backtrack Saturday Morning, about cartoons. Those 80s favorites, those 90s favorites that you might have remembered, and maybe some of those 70s and reruns. We're going to get back into all of them. We're going to track back, and we're going to look at all these cartoons and see what we thought about them and how well they aged. And that's going to be hosted by Brandon and several different guests and hosts. So be ready for that. And Off the Shelf, that's my next show that I'll be doing with our good mate, Rick. That's where we're talking about collectors. So if you're a collector of something, be sure to subscribe, like, and share so that we can talk about your collection. And of course, our show that debuted this month, The VHS Vault, where we're going into some of the harder to watch and probably nostalgic ticks into some of your favorite movies of horror, sci-fi, all the wonderful genres. Absolutely. So much to say. So much to see.
Sorry to butt in, but we are having a live watch party.
Yes.
Friday. Tomorrow,
that is right. Tomorrow.
We are going to be watching Ator, the Fighting Eagle.
Yes.
Nice.
A movie I've never heard of. Apparently, it's pretty bottom of the barrel.
It's interesting.
Yes. So
I kind of like B-rated kind of movies.
Oh,
you might.
I enjoy them.
They are a lot of fun. Yes.
So we'll be live tomorrow again. Normandy, Captain Nita, thank you guys so much for joining us. We had so much fun. Everybody out there, live long and prosper. Peace be unto you all, and we will see you next Thursday back in the Agony Booth.